All right, here you go.
Hi, I'm Dr. Christopher Irving, and welcome to Kari's Crowdfunding Corner.
What's wrong with him?
His girl just broke it off.
It's her father. He doesn't want her dating a zombie.
Why? What are they, demons?
She is predeceased.
An outsider?
Man, you're asking for trouble.
She broke my heart.
You're a zombie. Technically, you don't even have a heart.
After all of the great cinema that we brought to the world, and we still get no respect.
I don't know why he doesn't like me. I'm responsible, a full-time job.
You work at a haunted house in October.
I'm trying to be healthy. She's a vegan, so...
Wait, you're giving up meat?
Oh, come on.
What are you gonna do? Attack a farmer's market to try to impress her?
Now, if he was a vampire, you'd have a much better chance with her death.
Yeah, those pretty bastards.
I didn't think this would be that hard.
Hard. Man, I'm a zombie and I'm black.
Here we go.
I blame the educational system.
I blame the media.
I blame George Romero.
Oh. How could you be so disrespectful?
Coffee?
Zombies don't know much, but they do know good coffee. Deadly Grounds. It's coffee to die for, and zombie approved.
Who's George Romero?
Just have some coffee.
Hey, everybody, happy Wednesday. This is the third time you're seeing me this week, so I hope you aren't sick of me yet. Welcome to another episode of Kari's Crowdfunding Corner. Tonight we have with us right over here Dr. Christopher Irving. He has done so much stuff in the world of comics. He's been a journalist and a historian, a professor, a publisher, a moderator. He is a swag master as well, and he is currently kickstarting his comic Joe Unknown. And we're going to be looking at that as well as talking with him about the rest of his body of work. So, welcome, everybody. Christopher, how are you doing?
I'm swell. Thanks for having me here. I'm curious about the puppet, though.
Oh, I forgot to do the introduction. This is Ratatoster,
Okay.
named after the Norse squirrel that runs up and down the tree. He is my lush, emotional support squirrel puppet. He's an absolute alcoholic. We're both enjoying a little bit of Maker's Mark tonight. So
I have, oh my goodness, where is it? I have the most inappropriate 1960s kids toy. It's like a little wino, and it was like a battery operated toy. And I'm trying to think of where it is because I know it's here. I'm sorry, hang on a sec. I'm gonna like.
There were so many of those
He might have
from
stumbled
back in the
off. I
day
don't
that are
know.
now like
He may have gotten too
canceled
toasted.
toys.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. My sister and brother-in-law are redoing their basement since the kids have left the nest now, and they're setting up this whole like shuffleboard thing because he's a shuffleboard like does tournaments and is ranked and all this stuff. But they're resetting up kind of a bar in there as well, which they'd had in their garage. And then my grandparents, when they still had their place, had a full bar set up in their basement, and they had that the little pisser guy where it's a
Oh yeah.
little
Mhm.
the little kid, and then you like push it and he pees
Yep.
out the liquor.
I'm
So
acquainted.
yeah, those things from back in the day are fun. Hi, Dylan.
I love inappropriate toys.
There are a lot of them out there.
Yes, there are.
We find them in my family for white elephants. We just get the weirdest shit every year. It's like how did this come into existence and where did you find it? Like
Yeah, I find stuff like that when you're going through boxes that are in the garage or in the attic, and you don't know what's in the box, and everything's like a mystery box, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you
that's
open it up and you're like, oh, it's gold, but it's not going to be on the shelf right now. Yeah.
yeah, can't show that to anybody. So Christopher, I want to get started with a little bit of background because you have a lot of background to go through.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I've done
it,
a lot.
as I'm saying, who tells the storyteller's story? You are a storyteller in many formats, as is the comics that you're going. You visit a number of different kind of storytelling techniques in it.
Yeah,
Um,
actually.
but what brought you into? I'm all about storytelling. It's my favorite thing. So what got you into all of the different things that you've done, being the historian and professor and and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you took a different direction than a lot of people.
Wow.
To start
Yeah,
with.
it's a lot. It's more one thing kind of grew out of the next. I was reading comics always as a kid. I read G.I. Joe was the first, like, I have to pick this up every month comic book. And then that became, I also have to pick up Batman, and I've also got to get Fantastic Four. And we're talking like Death of Jason Todd era. Steve Englehart, was on FF at the time. And then I got into comics history because my dad gave me The Great Comic Book Heroes by Jules Feiffer. And that book taught me so much about the fact that there was an entire world of comics before me. And then I picked up Who's Who's. And so basically I was a big fan first, but I was a fan who had questions about the comics that just weren't being made anymore. And eventually that led me to interview creators. Mark Waid was my first creator I interviewed. I'm really proud to say he was on my dissertation committee a year and a half ago, which was really cool. It's on Superman. And so like, I had this one person early on who was difficult. And I basically sent him an email. And was like, hey man, I appreciate everything, but I'm taking a different direction. And I have Mark Waid willing to step up and be, to be on my committee. Again, when you write about Superman, you're not like a more knowledgeable person than Mark.
Absolutely. We've had him on like 4 or 5 times, not Kari's crowdfunding corner, but on splash pages 4 or 5 times now. And he is just the sweetest guy and the most knowledge. Like everybody I know who is like, yeah, and then I got to write Superman, and we're like, did you call Mark? Yeah. Yes, I did.
Yeah, he's Mark, a database. He's a Superman database.
He is a gem. I am so
Yeah.
lucky to have had him be the first creator I ever met. Like, he was my favorite writer because the Flash. Oh my God, his Flash run is just like the stuff of legend. But anyways, I was sort of started interviewing creators, and then I wanted to write for the magazine, so I started writing for like Comics Buyer's Guide, and I was also really curious about this old character called the Blue Beetle because I read about the Golden Age version and one of Ron Goulart's great. I got like one of his various indexes of Golden Age characters. Ron was a great writer. And so basically that went from comics journalism to comics history and researching the old comics and talking with the creators. And then around 2006, I published the Blue Beetle Companion Through Tomorrows, which is the publishing history of the character. And that got me interested in Victor Fox. And I now have, like 7 2-inch binders full of Victor Fox records, including bankruptcy records, depositions. That's going to be my next big project whenever I get to it. And then I started getting really interested in the art of writing about creators and their work. I read some Gay Talese. I read Frank Sinatra Has a Cold. I was like, why are we not doing this with comics creators? Mm-hmm. And that led to Graphic NYC, the big project I did with photographer Seth Kushner. And then eventually, I got into Kickstarters by helping Bill Murphy with his Amazing Heroes toy line. And I was writing, editing the Mike Allred Conversations book at the time. And I basically introduced Mike to Bill because Bill wanted to do a Madman figure. And then I started doing Kickstarters because I had the experience with helping Bill with his. And again, it all just, I wound up, I got Scott McCloud when I moved back to Richmond. I helped line Scott McCloud up for a lecture at VCU. And it went really well. And that got me in front of VCU, and that led to me teaching. And then I was teaching, and my chair, Ty Ruben Ellenson, was like, hey, you should do the PhD program. You're full-time, it's free for you to go. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is it's always one thing after another. And it just kind of like turns into something different. So it's all related, but it's just all happened, I want to say organically, So Joe Unknown is basically me taking all of the experience I've had publishing and crowdfunding and making, we've got the Madman Decoder that just came out this summer. Yeah, we're doing a guitar fidget called the Fidgetar. Frank's Fab Fidgetar is coming up soon. But I took all of those experiences and looked at my friend Nick Justice, who I grew up with. Our kids, he has a son about my son's age, and they've been coming over and playing pretty regularly. And Nick's a Kubert grad. He's a great artist. He's a pro. I'd been moderating a lot of creators for GalaxyCon for a number of years. And I was like, it's time for me. I have things to talk about. I have things to say. And I really just want to make a comic book. I want to say, I've done a comic book that, if I'm only going to do one comic book, this is it. And when I say one comic book, I mean 3 issues of one comic book.
3 issues of one comic.
3 issues of one comic. But it really is a matter of I have to do this. There's no reason for me not to have done it. I will be 50 next year. If you want to call it a midlife crisis, that's fine. But it's a way for me to really take the experiences of my last 10 to 15 years, everything from losing people I loved, changing my life around, becoming a dad, loving horror comics, all of it kind of has seeped into all 3 issues of Joe Unknown, and not in a precious way. I don't want anything nothing's ever precious for me. That's why that's why I tend to have kind of a dark humor about things, I guess. But yeah, it's just time. And that to me is kind of a natural evolution of everything else I've been doing.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of the organic approach to just life and creation of, trying to take these opportunities, seeing what happens with them. And it seems like that's really led you down a super interesting path. Was that the path that you always sort of saw yourself on, or did it lead you down roads where you were like, oh, I'm going to go down this road?
That's a good question.
Yeah. And then organically going into creating Joe Unknown, it seemed similar. It seemed, okay, well, now I'm at the point where I'm going to do my own book, and take my own life experiences. So what was that process like, making that jump? And then, is this where you saw yourself, when you were studying and reading comics, back in the day?
Now, that's a really great question. My dream when I was 16 was to go to VCU like Mike Waringo did and become a comic book artist. I grew up an hour away in Farmville, Virginia. That's the town's name. And I was drawing, and I was like, I'm going to be a comic book artist. And I started doing the journalism to break into comics, right? And into network and so forth. And eventually I started realizing I'm a better writer than I am an artist. And other things happened in life. I got married at a very young age. It was an awful idea. But that I remember a week or 2 after I got married, DC Comics contacted me about a job. And I wound up not getting it. I interviewed for it, but I didn't get it. There are times there's a parallel universe where I could have been editor-in-chief at DC Comics at this point had I taken that job and moved to New York and stuck around, because
a sliding doors kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And because I do know that I have the makings of a good editor, right? I've edited, many things. I'm good with people. I'm good with organization and so forth. But that's not what life had in store for me. What life had in store for me was, basically teaching elementary art for a couple of years, having that wash up at the same time I got out of my marriage. I was like in my early to mid 20s, and I basically was just at that point where I really took the time to get to know myself better. And it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to be a comic book, because that's the identity I'd kind of made in the back of my mind. But I realized I was a teacher, and I also realized that I was really effective as a historian. I'd been writing articles for Comics Buyer's Guide, Comic Book Artist. I mean, CBA, I think we won something like 5 consecutive Eisners. I was doing the articles on Charlton, on Tower. I think I did one on Atlas Comics. I was with John Cook. I was uncovering stuff no one had taken the time to talk about and research. And so, like, I've always known I wanted to do things with comics, and that has never gone away. And it's just evolved more. It's evolved more into, do I really want to write superheroes? Nah, not really. Do I want to write comics full time? I don't. If that option were ever to arise for me, I don't think I'd want to, because I don't know if I'm the person who can write. Like Mark can. Mark can write like 4 books a month or something, and they're all great.
Just morning, noon, and night, just turning it out.
Yeah, and he's just like, he's a master of the craft. For me, I would much rather take my time developing. It's because I had not written comics in about 25 years when I did Joe Unknown. I'd written a lot of prose, like pulp novellas, and of course a lot of history and so forth. And I decided that I would really give myself the room to let this story grow. I took about a year, and it was, I had a few friends read the first couple of scripts. My friend Alfonso has read the 3rd script. He's the only person who knows how it ends. The only person, not even Nick knows,
wow.
Not yet at least. And I was just like, I'm going to really take my time with this and just see what happens. And if this is the only comic book I ever do, then that's ending on a good note, because I'm very proud of it. And I'm proud of the work Nick's done. I'm so proud of the cover Robbie Rodriguez took the time to give us. Yeah, it's
awesome.
My phone on Father's Day popped, and he had put the image, he had sent me the image, and I'm like, dude, you're ridiculous.
Yeah, and the logo is fire. Like, everything is.
It's Dennis Kitchen did the logo for me.
It's amazing.
It reminds me, and I know that you have some, like, you love the horror and the EC stuff.
Yeah.
When they had the Tomb back in the day, I like to joke about it, because one of my other shows on a different network is Tomb of the Terrible, and we review B movies. But the friend of mine that started it all, who has since passed, designed the logo, and it was Tomb of the Terrible using that old font.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's really cool.
What I love about it is that Dennis, he hand draws. So I just finished the campaign. Oh boy, this is a story. I have a box here of Dennis Kitchen trading cards and creatures out of the subconscious, and they're misprinted. All 600 sets. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was, and it's okay. The printer is amazing. I continue to work with them. They are fixing the issue. They're reprinting the entire set. But as I was, they printed the wrong file. So, but that's, that guy's wiener is showing. Sorry. Woohoo. It's a family show, Irving. Okay. But
yeah,
Dennis,
it's even better with your finger over it.
Yeah. But Dennis, he hand drew the logo, and I was, working on Joe, and I'm just like, can I get you to do a logo for me, Dennis? He's like, yeah, sure. Well, it won't take me long. And he sent me 3, and I will probably put the other 2 somewhere, but that's the logo I picked for the cover. So yeah, I mean, I'm incredibly proud of this. Now, when this is finished, his story, this is his story, right? This is Joe's story. You also meet Penny, you also meet Oscar, who are two other storytelling hosts.
So excited about
That I don't want to spoil too much. But this is Joe's story. After this, I have something else I want to pursue. But if we were to fund well enough from issue 1, 2, and 3 to where Nick and I are like, let's just keep making comics, I will gladly keep making comics with him. We will think of something. Because I love working with him. He's one of my best friends. He's just a brilliant guy, and he's a workhorse, man. I mean, he's been turning this stuff around. And he's also very energetic about the book. Micah Myers is doing the lettering, which I'm super excited about, because Micah brings like this feeling of just craft to all of his lettering. It's not stiff, it's not computery, it's just, it feels lived in. And that's kind of the tone I wanted for the book anyways.
And when you have a team that's firing on all cylinders together like that, you just want to kind of continue feeding the beast, right? You just got to like, okay, what can we all do next? What can we do now? What can we keep going? And, you know, it seems like you have that sort of, you know, symbiotic camaraderie with the team, which leads to great projects.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And it's also like a lot of it too is, part of me, I love superheroes. I don't see myself writing superheroes, except I don't feel like anyone knows what to do with the Golden Age characters anymore. And I think the last time they were treated in a way that made sense was Starman by James Robinson and Tony Harris, and then Peter Stevens.
Yeah.
Which is one of the books that influenced me beyond just loving comics, but into other like I love Sinatra because of that book, you know.
Dude, we saw Tony Harris not this past year, but the year before at Terrificon. He was just like, he knows our group, because one of the guys over at Splash Pages, Drew Mallow, is like a super fan, and I love Starman because I'm just like, oh my god, you know. We went over and Tony's like, hey guys, come here, I gotta show you something. This is what's coming out next. Nobody else has seen this. I can't show it, but I'm working on it while I'm here. So we're like,
I have a funny story about Tony. I have a funny story. So I did the only comprehensive article I'm aware of on Starman for Comics Buyer's Guide. Jack Burnley was still alive. He lived an hour away from me in Charlottesville. And I went to Jack Burnley's, him and his wife were in a townhouse, and interviewed him. And he gave me prints. I have like some signed Jack Burnley prints up. I have a Batman, a Superman, and Robin, and the World's Fair one. I have another Batman one, and of course I interviewed up through Tony and James, and I think Peter Snedgeberg. I may have gotten him. But I drove down to Georgia to interview Tony. I mean, this was years ago. It's like 2002 or something. I did a huge interview with him, and it never really went anywhere. I've still got it, but I've known Tony's one of the first professionals, like creators, I really like connected with on a personal level as well. And I remember I remember loving that he, this is Sammy.
I remember
Sammy popped right up there.
Yeah, he does. He wants food. So yeah, I remember just like, it was great just sitting with Tony and his family and getting to just interview him. And he makes a very strong cup of coffee. I usually drink coffee black. He's like, you want coffee, Chris? I'm like, yeah, sure. You know, and I'm like, how do you take it? I'm like, I drink it black. And Tony starts putting like cream and sugar in his. I'm like, it's strong. It's strong. But no, Tony's wonderful. I truly love the guy. And he's one of the other reasons I need to make it to Heroes every single year. But with Starman though, is it had a great treatment of those characters where it was mature, right? It wasn't like an R-rated book necessarily, but it was adult in how it approached it. And I kind of feel like that is a book about getting older, right? On two different levels. You have Jack having to grow the fuck up, and then you have Ted getting older. And I look at a lot of like, who are these characters even for anymore? How can you make characters like Alan Scott or Jay Garrick really appeal to a younger audience, or are they meant for people my age still? To me, like, the only person I personally feel who really gets Alan in a way that makes sense to me is Matt Fraction had him in an issue of Batman recently. He looks at Bruce Wayne and calls Batman's a young man to him. And I love that. But he's not like, well, Sonny, but he is like, this is a guy who's 100. Yeah, he's all young and hot now and bearded, and yeah, that's great. But he's still 100 years old. He's got that perspective, and that fascinates me. And so I may be doing something like that down the road, but Joe comes first. I will say Penny kind of steals the show, but yeah.
I love this picture of them all together. See,
thank you.
You got. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say
No,
you got
go ahead.
Joe. Well, you have Joe, Penny, and then Oscar. So your main storytellers there, and it's nice to be able to just, okay, these are the people in the story that are going to be the storytellers of the story. I'm not exactly sure how this goes, and I don't want to give you to give spoilers, but it sounds like storytelling about storytellers and the
sort of
and the stories that they can tell.
It's kind of sort of. I'm a media scholar, so I'm really thinking a lot in terms of not only how we tell stories, but how stories are told in different media. And Nick did something today, like literally, I had the pencils in my inbox at noon and the inks in my inbox by like 6 o'clock.
Wow.
And he did a 9-panel grid with those 3 characters that is like breathtaking. And yeah, so it's really like, it's Penny Blood, Oscar Silencio, kind of figure out what they do from there. But it's the thing where, like, okay, I didn't want a character just Joe walking around talking to himself, but it was also why we tell stories. And I could have made them all look kind of ghoulish, but I don't know. It just didn't work out that way. I think I think of them as just real living people. So I didn't. Yeah, I'm not saying too much more. Because I want readers to be surprised, but I will say it ends on the note that I like to think will make people want to pick up number 2. The good thing is, I understand not everyone has a lot of money. I understand I'm untried as a comic book writer, unless you've read some of my stuff from 25 years ago, which is very doubtful. But I have like the digital, the PDF is I think $5. And
your price points are very on point. I mean, you're not asking for a ton for everything that you get with what you're giving them. It looks phenomenal.
Thank you.
The mood of the artwork is great, like the tone and the vibe. What was your choice of the black and white over the color? Was that Nick? Was that you?
Because I'm broke. I had someone on a podcast last week who was like, so who's coloring this? I'm like, you think we have money for a colorist? Oh no, I'm gonna call Laura Allred and guilt her into coloring it for me. I'll be, Laura,
there you go.
Pretty please, I love you.
How long do we hold on to asking people that we know for?
Yeah, well, but in all honesty, like, I say this as in, I wouldn't want anyone's coloring other than Laura Allred's, like, because she's like the world's best colorist. Like, she is the first colorist who made me realize how powerful coloring could be in a comic book.
Don't know why I made that go away. But.
When I first looked at the Madman Adventures Ash Cannon Hero Illustrated, like I felt like I was looking at a Viewmaster reel, and a lot of it's her colors.
Mhm.
I've done some coloring. I could color it. A lot of it's time, and a lot of it honestly is money. You know, we're a very small comics empire. I
But
also
with your influences on the book, the black and white seems right in line
thank you.
with the book influences of
Yeah.
Twilight Zone and Crypt and EC and
Mhm.
those kind of storytelling.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, well, and you know, also like Web of Evil and um these other kind of vintage kind of 40s, 50s
Yeah,
horror books. I read a lot of those as well. I love black and white.
yeah.
I just do. I'm a big fan. I don't think there are enough black and white comics out there. I also love that Nick draws for black and white. Uh, Having said that, at some point I wouldn't mind having it colored. Like for instance, I colored the Joe Unknown head. That's taken from one of
Yeah.
the
Well, that might
main.
be something cool to offer once you have all 3 issues. Even you could have a color version of all 3.
Possibly. I mean, I've really got to see how it goes.
But the idea
I,
of doing it in black and white is great.
well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going for a matte paper. It's kind of an old school feeling paper.
Mhm.
Oh, nice.
Because I believe in a comic book as an artifact, right? As a physical, tactile experience. You know, we have a tentative commitment from one of my favorite artists ever to do this cover to number 2. And I have someone in mind for number 3, but I have to talk with them and see, you know, rates and so forth. Because again, I'm literally doing this out of my home office that,
Mhm.
you know, is full of books and Transformers. You know,
I can
I
see
don't
that they're
have a
very
huge, yeah, I don't have a huge budget. So, you know, I'm still kind of playing around with it, but yeah, I would like to at some point do a color comic. It's just kind of like that's a hope for the future type of thing.
This feels noir without having to make it noir, though. You know, like a lot of the noir comics the ones that aren't strictly black and white that have just that little hint of color.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you spent a lot of money for just an itty bitty bit of color in there, you
Yeah.
know? And I look at this guy and I'm like, I first glance it's like hard boiled detective, and then you look a little closer and you're like, oh, this is gonna be beautiful. I'm gonna get all these stories. I'm gonna one of these things. I, I gotta ask, and I'm kind of like totally tangenting off here. Um, I'm really big into history too. I write horror as well. Everybody I know who's into history loves horror.
Yeah.
Uh, and I don't know. It's because just so many horrible things have happened in history that if you're gonna stick with it, you know, you kind of have to be able to accept like
Yeah.
shit happens a lot, and it's kind of really bad, you know, quite frequently. But do you have any opinion on that kind of is it something that you found were you drawn more to horror or history first?
It's a really good
That's an odd
question.
question, but
Well, one of my side gigs has been I wrote documentary scripts for Lionheart Filmworks, which is a local company in Richmond. And it's my friend Kevin Hirschberger, and he has like one of the largest collections of like different war uniforms and costumes in the country.
Hmm.
And I know like the Sleepy Hollow TV show, I think rented some Revolutionary War clothing off of him. And he also has a lot of stock footage because he would film reenactments. He has a crew, you know, he'll maybe get like a day of, you know, like 5 guys and throw us all in different, you know, uniforms for different eras and film. He's really kind of a brilliant guy and this very like, he's a very meat and potatoes, you know, indie guy. But I would write these documentaries and I find it all fascinating. I did write and produced one called Monsters Among Us, which is the history of horror. And it has like nothing for a budget. And it's like half a shoestring. And it's wound up like all over. It was on Canopy streaming. And I'm just like, I've never watched the whole thing. I'm in it. I wrote it, but but how horror has evolved is in response to historical and social changes. Like I just taught my vampire in film class this summer. I'm talking about Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula, and you have this fear, this xenophobia, this fear of syphilis. You have the treatment of the media in that book is brilliant, but it's all right around this inflection point where technology is changing society, and then you have this something from the old world. Dracula is coming in, so that's kind of like you can find horror can help you find the historical stories and realities that force them to happen. Now, for me, I'm fascinated by history because as a media professor, I always tell my students, you have to understand the social and historical context. That is it. You cannot, like, media does not exist in a vacuum. If you were watching a movie from the 1930s and the only Black person cast in it is like a maid and they're a stereotype, that doesn't make it okay, right? It's still not okay. We can still challenge it. Let's still discuss that. Well, let's try and discuss that in the framework of what was going on in the 1930s in Hollywood and in society, because that then turns back and gives you a greater appreciation of the story that's being told on film, right? Whether you like it or not.
And by no means do I want to justify that, but if the entire point of view of the film is from the aristocratic white folk,
Mm-hmm.
they don't even think about it being, like you can see if you're watching it from their point of view. But I know that's not how.
No, I
everything
think that's a good point. And there's a great thing I read, is ask yourself, as a white person, do you consider yourself to have a race? And I'm like, what? My head blew up because I'm like, wait, I've thought of myself as the default. That is my problem. And so, when discussing media, regardless of whether it's around race, gender, you name it, it always has to be seen within that context. And I always love to hear other points of view, because I know that mine is still, it's what this body can see, right? But you have to you have to understand that context. You have to understand history.
It seems like horror does that really well. I mean, that's what you're saying too, is that horror is sort of always a parable, whether it was the Twilight Zones or whether it was like the Hitchcock Presents, which did something very similar with this sort of morality tale where at the end he'd come on and be like, here's what happened. It seems like it is a real sign of the times, media wise. Even right now, when you look at film, you have Backrooms and you have Obsession and you have these horror movies that are crushing. And it's really about a moment in a story, that of who's interested in that experience.
Well, have you seen one of the best movies I've seen all year? Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma.
It is on my list to see, but I haven't seen it. It just came out the other week. Yeah, it just came out a week or two ago, right?
Yeah,
I think
it is, because I saw it the TV Club. And my feeling about that movie was, this is a really talented director who's still kind of cooking, because it's a little heavy-handed in places, and it's fine. I mean, it's a really great movie, but Camp Miasma is like, it's literally a bloody masterpiece. Like, this director has, I feel like, just totally arrived with this movie. They've gone from being really promising and really talented to being just like incredible with a capital I. And their movies are all about, queerness and discovery through media, which I feel is also kind of a universal anyways. Cause I don't know about you guys, but I learned more about myself through experiencing movies and comics and so forth. And, it gave me something I could, like, the Rocky movies, I watched those after losing my dad, because every Rocky film is about losing something and having to
Yeah.
pick yourself back up.
Yeah, and adversity. Yeah.
Yeah, but Camp Miasma is a great movie. I mean, it's just I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil anything.
I
Go in with a
am going to
note.
see it, so no spoiler. I'm going to go see it. It's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm doubling back on what I said earlier,
Yeah,
where
please.
you had the white perspective of looking at it, and it's like, oh yes, that person is the maid, and that's all we think about him.
Yep.
But then you come from another point of view, and you actually, okay, now let's empathize. Now you're not. Let's not be a wasp. Let's go ahead and be somebody else and see from their perspective. And that's you're saying you learn so much about other people and
Yep.
yourself and how you react to things by watching movies from the other perspective.
Well, and what I always tell them, and I genuinely like love hearing a different perspective because it helps me appreciate it holistically, like as overall, you know, if I have a student who's queer or female or Asian or black, like I want to hear your perspectives. And I'd always tell them, like, this is kind of my little Jedi mind trick I do as a professor, is I'm like, I want you to challenge this material, right? But you have to make sure to really think about it in context. You're free to say, look, man, I just didn't like it. It made me uncomfortable. And and I can't, it's okay for you to dislike it. Let's just say you dislike it and move on. And what I found is it really empowered the students who wanted to be able to speak up and talk about it. So we watched like Dave Cronenberg's The Fly. That's an incredible film, and talk about
right.
that. And then, I tell the students, guys, this came out during the AIDS epidemic. So let's then see how maybe it might relate to it, especially with, the sex, all of the sex in it, right? There's a lot of sex, but there's also this, his body is falling apart, or just kind of putting that context. And it's just really a magical experience because, I would show RoboCop, right? One of the greatest films ever made. People assume it's going to be stupid. They're like, oh, it's a cyborg, late 80s. And I put that in and I'll show 20-year-olds and they're like, their minds are blown. They're like, A, it looks incredible still. B, it's funny as hell. C, that movie got it right. It was prescient, man. It was prescient towards corporate America.
And now they're doing a new series, a RoboCop series. Who knows how that's going to be? But
the guy who's playing him was on Legion. He's brilliant.
Yes, Dan Stevens, right?
Yes, Dan Stevens. I think he's going to be great. I don't know. I mean, I just I got to talk to Miner and Newmeyer a few years ago. That was like one of the high points of my life because I know that movie like pretty verbatim. I can watch it no matter what. And they were just brilliant, and they made it at a certain time. I kind of feel like the only RoboCop since then that has worked for me, like I like the reboot just fine. The reboot was okay, for what it was.
I haven't seen it. I never saw the reboot.
It's okay.
Did you see it, Kari?
No.
No.
I haven't seen the regular RoboCop. I know what it's about. It's on my list,
Okay.
but
All right. The
it's
next
one-
time
it's
we're
one of those,
together,
like,
we'll do a watch
You
party.
gotta watch the first RoboCop. It's a
I
great.
I do. You're reminding me so much. I had a sociology professor, Dr. Jim Farger, and he had Farger's laws, and we'd go through and learn all of the different Farger's laws. And he emphasized this one by using enemy mine as an example of racism, and
Yes.
it's Farger's law of science fiction is everything is happening right now.
Yep.
It's just a mask for what's actually going on at the moment.
Yes.
And I live by that. Like it's if I'm writing something, if it has a point at all other than to be kind of spooky or something like that, it's going to reflect something, and I'm going to reflect it in a way that, oh, it snuck up on you. You didn't realize that that's what it was about,
Mhm.
but now you do.
Yep.
So how are you going to cope with that?
Yeah, and that's usually your in, right? That's your personal in to the story of how you're going to write it, how you're going to create it, what you're trying to say through it. And you could say what you want through multiple genres. It could be horror, it could be superhero, it could be whatever, and have the same message. It's just, what story do you want to tell to convey thematically and or parable wise what you want to talk about right now.
But what? I also think it's important not to overwrite it, and it's the thing I love about RoboCop. And I will say before I forget, the video games are great. The video games are sequels to RoboCop 2, and they continue like the kind of the neoliberalist satire. Like they're really, and they're so good. They're like the sequels we really should have gotten. But the thing that's so wonderful about RoboCop, and I'm not going to give you any spoilers, Kari, is it's disguised like an 80s action movie, right? It's over the top. There's excess. But there's so many underlying themes. There's so many questions you can still have after. There's so many different ways you can interpret it. But it uses the action movie genre to actually be ironically subtle about the deeper questions, especially regarding Murphy. And it's just, I can't say enough good things about that film.
And that's Verhoeven, right? Who's a very he's a very divisive director, or has been over the years.
Yeah, I mean, he did Basic Instinct. He did Starship.
Yeah, he did Basic Instinct. He did that, and then he did Starship Troopers, and
there's a great documentary called RoboDoc. It was on Amazon, maybe on like Tubi or something. And it's I was actually going to pursue a RoboCop book, an academic book, and then I saw RoboDoc, and I'm like, this does it. Like,
if you open the book, it has to make the noise. The book has to go like the RoboCop moving noise. When you open it, it would just somehow it would be great.
And if you're trying to put it down, your move, creep.
That's something that I learned. I'm horror. 90% of what I watch is horror. The rest of it is really depressing shit. Like Vincent Gallo movies, like, oh God, I just want to be as uncomfortable as I can possibly be in my own skin. And watching him does it, Steve Buscemi as well, just gives you that like, oh. But
yes.
I missed out on the fact that action in the 80s actually had a meaning behind it beyond it just being I can't say for future stuff. I don't know if the Fast and the Furious represents some big moral statement out there. I'm assuming not, but I'm not going to watch it regardless.
That's what it's about, Gary.
It's about family.
Okay, well, there's me. I don't know family, but I skipped over all the stuff, and then I look back, and people are like, "Oh no, it was about this," and I'm just like, "Well, shit." That's
May I give my 2 cents on action real quick?
Absolutely.
Okay. The greatest action stars are ones who are self-deprecating. And so that makes them relatable. So you have someone like Schwarzenegger who plays these practically indestructible characters, but he has the one-liner. And there's something that makes you feel like you could hang out with this guy. I think Stallone is really great with it. Stallone's one of my favorite action stars of all time. I don't really agree with Stallone too much now politically, but though he did a great reminiscence of Dolly Parton today, which you should look up. It's really beautiful.
Just from Rhinestone, right? They were in Rhinestone.
I think so, yeah. But that's why I look at a lot of the more modern action, and it's all, hey, let's do this like overly CG. Things are so absurd. Things are bigger, badder, but they've lost the whole point of a fight scene, which is basically two characters. This is them basically doing this to solve a problem. So it has to be like the fight scene actually has to have a narrative purpose. That's why Anakin Skywalker versus Obi-Wan Kenobi in Revenge of the Sith is such a good scene, because there's something at stake. And so to me, it's like you need, I think Alan Ritchson in Reacher is the best new action star.
I can't.
Because
New episode dropped today. I'm watching it tonight.
I saw the first 2 episodes. I love this guy. He's so funny, right? But you also
I like
feel
the
like
series. I enjoy
he
it.
would look out for me if something was going on. But the action is not as over the top, cars, foo, whatever. Because I think that you lose a certain human element when you do that. So I think like a good action movie, like the best ones, I think are the smaller ones, like Nobody. Nobody's the best action movie I'd seen in ages. And it's a
Yeah.
middle-aged guy, with his elderly dad.
You would like? Did you see the movie Normal yet? Also with Bob Odenkirk.
No, I need to. I
You
love
would-
Bob. I need to see
You would
Nobody
like it.
too as well.
You would really like it. I think it's streaming on HBO Max right now. I saw it in the theater and it was great. And then the
Oh, wow.
most recent action movie I've seen that I loved was a martial arts movie called The Furious, which
Yep.
was fantastic.
I've heard enough. My friends, I have a friend who is Chinese actually, and he introduced me to. We were roommates in college. He introduced me to a lot of like Michelle Yeoh and Stephen
Mhm.
Chow and Jackie Chan before they were big. Yes, Alan is very hot. I've met him at shows. He's a hot guy. I can comfortably say that he's a beautiful human being, and a very nice guy too. If you ever get to meet him.
Everyone's just waiting to figure out what superhero he's going to be cast as, I think.
It'd be funny if he was Aquaman again, but I don't know, man. I actually think he'd be really good for Batman.
That's what people are saying online.
Yeah. They're stupid if they don't cast him. Jensen Ackles is another one. They give the man someone. He'd be a great Batman, and he's a good age, I think, for wanting to do something with Damien.
Be fun. I have to throw in my yes, I did pay attention to some of the action movies. The best fight scene ever is from They Live when Roddy Piper and that. I mean, I've seen some
Yes.
amazing war movies and things like that with historical war, but that fight in the alley to get him to put on the fucking glasses is like hands down the best. The guy who choreographed that had to just be like, "Oh my god!"
I think it was Piper.
I have to make this last how long?
Choreographed it, but I'm not sure.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, did he? I guess he had the experience.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Well, it's funny. I taught a class called Techno Dystopia, and that's one of the movies we watched. That in Robot Jocks. Robot Jocks is terrible, but I love it. But the students had not seen They Live, and it's my partner. She hasn't seen it yet. Actually, we need to.
Oh, really?
When we can have the projector to ourselves. We have a 9-year-old boy, so we have to still be kind of careful with what we watch. But yeah, the students were just like watching They Live, and they're like, "This movie is so relevant." I'm like, "Yep, it's 40 years old, guys."
Don't say that. That makes me feel. I'm older than you are, so I'm like.
Oh well. So my cat Eccleston is now glaring at me from over the top of the laptop. Let me see if I can get him. He's actually the photo reference. Hey, handsome, come here. Oh, 18 pounds of my boy.
Oh, Sammy.
Eccleston Draper.
Oh, Eccleston.
He also goes by the handle DJ Ecky Smooth when he does raves. He lays out some dope beats.
You give him little glow sticks. You can kind of
Keep him to him.
So no, it's funny with Nick is he was over here and he was kind of like, "Yeah, I'm having trouble drawing a cat." I took my phone and took pictures of Eccleston and Sammy, and the typewriter actually is mine. I gave him. I have an old ass typewriter that I got years ago. It's missing a few keys, so he's got that for reference.
Nice.
Yeah, so
you can't put your own pet in your own book. What's the point?
Well, and I wasn't trying to be precious about it, really. Like I just wanted a cat. There's a cat so there's a radio show that Boris Karloff was in that inspired in part the main story, and so I had to have a cat to honor that. But yeah, Joe's cat just kind of has stolen the show, so he's probably going to pop up a little bit more in 2 and 3 than I'd originally planned.
Everybody loves a cat. I mean, mine used to sit right here, Uh, and now she sits right here, and it's a box. It's not quite on screen, but Leo even made me this little ghost kitty to sit on top of her Ashes box.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, so she joins the show. I'm
Oh,
gonna redirect us because I know we
please.
don't have you for too long, and we want to
Yeah,
go over the Kickstarter
I
because
can hang
it's
out a little
awesome.
bit longer. Yeah, please go ahead. This is
Okay,
fun.
but yeah, let's while we're here. Okay, so we're gonna go through, and that was an example of the pages. We gave you some of that. Um, I want to flip down though to where we're doing these are the different tiers, and I'll hop over and show you the prices on things. You can get the standard comic, and everything is now coming with a logo sticker, right?
It is, yeah, and it's
Yeah.
so it's 28 pages. It's 22 of story. I'm going to have some other goodies in there as well. I'm going to try and get enough advanced readers so I can have a letter column in it. But I don't.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I just need to
Love
get the
that.
Sign
whole
me
thing
up.
drawn and lettered first. Yeah, definitely.
This is something that I really enjoy, and we're going to talk about because I couldn't find it on the rewards, but the special PDF that gives you the full script and unlettered pages, that's
Yep.
everybody knows that's my favorite thing. I love
Oh,
scripts.
wonderful.
I love reading and learning how everything was put together. Because I'm trying really hard to break in there, but it's like you have to learn so many different ways because you can't just trust this person's process, you know?
Yeah,
Um, so then we have you're doing the metal stuff, which
metal.
is awesome.
Thank you.
I
It looks
I
very
have a
cool.
yeah, I don't have a lot of metal stuff, but I have a couple of metal covers and things, and that's a rather newer thing, but they're just amazing things to own. Like,
Yeah.
it feels more important, and you're pricing things really well for all of these.
Thank you. Yeah, and sorry, Eki is on my stack of comic books that I have down here for a top secret work for hire project I can't announce yet, but it will be announced soon.
Oh, okay.
I just don't want to mess my books up. Okay.
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 Okay, I'm like, are we looking at something? Okay, I'll back up over here. So some of the different add-ons, you have the 6 card holofoil pack, and these are like the Web of Evil, a bunch of older
Jack.
stuff, Tomb of
Yeah.
Terror.
So Jack Cole created Plastic Man and is one of my favorite artists ever. And he did some horror comic books. And so I wanted to just, I normally do a set of horror trading cards called 4-color Full Bleed. I've been doing 4-color as like comics history cards for years now. And so that was for my 4-color fans, as well as the metal cards and bookmark of like Tomb of Terror and so forth, which are pre-code comics. Those are available also as their own level because
Yes,
I
they.
wanted a way to bring in my trading card backers and have a little something for them because they've been amazing. And they're also available as an add-on too.
And then we have the additional copy. And here's the go ahead and explain the Mad Mania.
Yes,
And
Mad Mania. Okay, so I don't know how many campaigns I've done with Mike already at this point. And every campaign for a while, I would write a little essay booklet on a different stage of Madman and offer it as an add-on. And I have done 8 at this point. And they always do really well as add-ons to my campaigns, especially the Madman ones. But these are basically me writing about everything from graphic music on. They're called Mad Mania. We will be doing they're little tiny, essay booklets. And we're doing a collection called Total Mad Mania at some point where my designer's super busy. He's working on the Don Newton book that I edited and did some writing on for tomorrow's. But that's a bundle. That's all 8 issues together.
okay. Then we have the graphic NYC essay book.
Yep. That is this puppy right here. When I lived in New York, so sorry, I need a little water there. So I lived in New York from about 2008 to 2013. Loved it. I miss it. And I had a website with a photographer named Seth Kushner. And I interviewed about 85 different creators, most all of them in person, and I wrote about them. So they're interview-based critical essays. I would read as much of their work as I could and talk with them and work it into an essay launched every week. The book version, Leaping Tall Buildings, had like very truncated versions of my essays. So I just wanted all of them collected together as a document. If you go to graphicnyc.com, that gives you more detail. But I'll tell you, this is how cool my life was. I would like hop on a subway and we'd hang out with David Mack and get noodles. Or I'd go have, seafood, go to a seafood restaurant with Joe Quesada. I'd hang out with Becky Cloonan in the studio that we were all part of. I got to hang out with Jules Pfeiffer in his apartment. This is the man who got me into comics history.
Yeah, I still have that book as well. The book's amazing.
I've got mine, and Dad gave it to me when I was a kid, and I've had it signed by it's gone on every vacation. It's a little worse for the wear, but Jules, Joe Simon, Marty Nodell, Shelley Moldoff, Will Eisner, Jerry Robinson. I don't know if I said him or not. Yeah, like it's my favorite anything.
Did any of them do a little remark in there too?
No, it's just signatures, unfortunately. Nice. But yeah, I pick up extra copies whenever I see them. And I got 2 really nice hardcover copies in Raleigh. And I just mailed one to my good friend Simon Fraser. He's a 2000 AD artist. I was just visiting him and his beautiful family last weekend. But yeah, so anyways, Graphic NYC, it's they're in person, like you are there interviews, and I'm super proud of it. It's just a lot of really great work. So I'm happy to be able to offer it.
It's great. And then Terror in the Toy Box.
Yes. Okay. I had an idea. Turmoil in the toy box, right? The 80s satanic panic, He-Man's going to make your kids into satanistic, hedonistic, whatever. Well, I got 6 comic creators. I think it was 6 friends of mine. I met them through shows or just through my travels and friendships. Riley Brown, Peter Bagg, Tim Seeley, Terry Huddleston, Jeffrey Brown, and Danny. Danny, who's now drawing Batwoman and is ridiculous talent. They all are. And I was like, okay, guys, so here's the deal. You come up with, this is, you own the creations. I can write backstories or whatever. You come up with the toy line that turned you so deluded that you wanted to draw comics. And it's great. It's a short story. It's a campaign that just kind of flew under the radar, right? It didn't do great. It funded, but after paying the artists, their rate, like I probably lost money on it, but I'm so proud of it because it was so much fun to do. And each and every one of them turned out something like incredible. So Terror in the Toy Box is kind of my little sleeper hit. It's a fun short story, but you'll get rarely seen creations from, Jeffrey and Peter Bagg came up with Rat-a-Tat-Rat. Riley came up with what's his name? It was so that it was like a guy with a bunch of swords sticking out of him, and kind of my story was that it was a toy where like it had fake blood, but the fake blood was really toxic and it was like burning kids' skin and everything. Anyways, so yeah, Terror in the Toy Box is a fun little terror jaunt that I put together a few years ago, and I'm very proud of it.
That sounds fun. It looks pretty. How big is the book?
It's tiny. It's like a little pocket book.
No. How many pages is it? Is it
6. Page wise, it's maybe about 30 something pages. I think I state that in there. It is a short story. Like it's sit down with a cup of coffee, read. But it was a lot of fun to do.
It's got like a fun chapbook quality to it.
Yeah. I like things that are small. I like, I'm a big fan of 33 and 1/3 that Bloomsbury does. For those of you who don't know, they're small digests that each focus, it's a critical essay on a different album. And I think they've done like 200 volumes or something, but they have been a big inspiration of mine for years, not only in how I approach things and write about comics, but also the format. I think is just really sweet.
Okay. I'm going to hop us over to the rewards, just the way they're set up, because I do have a question about the digital upgrade.
Okay. Well, it's the
So
digital edition. Yeah.
okay, here's the regular digital edition. You can get that for
Mhm.
$5. The add-ons. So this is something different that most people don't do. You're
Right.
allowing add-ons that are going to have their own mailing fees outside of just the digital edition if people want to get stuff on top of that.
Right.
Is that because
Well, that's
that
funny.
doesn't seem to happen very often?
I actually did not intend for that, but I guess
Oh,
that digital people get add-ons because I'm actually I'm doing the normally I charge shipping in advance, right?
right.
But for this one, of course, we're doing the pledge manager. The reason for that is because things are really whack right now with shipping,
Yes. Yes,
and
they are.
especially with international, that can really be crazy. So yeah, I mean, people they can get it if they want the digital, but if they also want the cards, so the foil card and the first pack of horror cards, those I had a limited amount for people who had actually followed my pre-launch page. And so
Okay.
one part of the reward for signing up early was, hey, I've got a limited number. You can get these things, and I have to charge something because Kickstarter won't let me give anything
Yeah.
away for free. And what's really cool about that too is it might make a fan of the trading cards that I do out of that, but at the very least, it's an extra bit of horror goodness, vintage horror goodness at that.
Yeah. So I'm going to go through real quick and just scroll through these so that
Sure.
people can see not the prices, what they can order. Um, you get four color. You made this difficult on
Four
purpose.
color full bleed pack number 1. Four color horror
You.
full bleed pack number 1.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah, we're
say
tongue
that five.
twistering, people. We're tongue twistering.
Yeah.
And then the foil card, you can get the regular standard edition for
Yeah.
just $6.
Mhm.
That Terror and the Torx we were just talking about for 10. Then we go into the foil edition, uh, the artist edition, and this gets the virgin cover.
Mhm.
But the back beyond that is the regular page, right?
Right. So the artist edition has like you get the cover without a logo, like a virgin cover is the term they use. And my plan is to have another cover right behind it that's the one with the logo.
Oh,
So
that's
Okay.
yeah,
nice.
so I've got to look into printing 2 covers, or having a couple color pages.
All right. And then we have the metal set that
Mhm.
we've been talking about, which is so cool.
Thanks.
I'm
So
not
that
going to
is,
say it again.
yeah, 4 color horror full bleed pack number. That's a pain in the ass. Yeah, so those are the ones I have available now. All of the dollar special packs are gone. I only had 10. But yeah, so
Okay.
that's the normal price, 25. You get 30 cards. They're a limited print run.
Wow.
I only do like 100 units. And typically on my campaigns for trading cards, if I have enough extras, I'll send an extra pack for backers. It's
Well,
not promised or guaranteed, but if I can swing it, I do. So yeah, I probably have about 10 or 15 of those packs left, and then they're
okay.
gone because I don't reprint them.
Right. And then there's the Jack Cole holofoil pack.
You got it.
6 cards there. The Graphic NYC essay collection, the 4
Mhm.
color horror metal set. Got that one out. And
Yeah.
the bundle. And that was the thing that I was wondering. I didn't see anywhere in here, and it said that it came with some of the larger collections, but even if I go here, I don't see the upgrade for the PDF version, and I'm wondering how do I
Okay,
get
that
that?
that is okay. That is, oh, you mean like the okay, sorry, my battery's a little low here. So basically that is in a higher level. So
Okay.
yeah,
Which level do we need to go to here? Because
I
I
believe that might be the ultra horror mega level.
Ultra Horror Mega.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it should be in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
So yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Are you is there any way that you're offering that with as an add-on, or is it just you can
You
only
want
get
it
it if
as an
you
add-on? Am I hearing you? Oh,
I
yeah, yeah.
I see a lot of people who offer that upgrade
Okay.
as an add-on, and
Yeah.
it tends to sell really well.
Okay. Well, you know
I'm
what?
just a scriptedic,
I
so I'm
can
like,
add,
hey,
I didn't really think about it as an add-on, but I can make it an add-on. That's no skin off me.
I,
And I won't turn down anyone else, wanting to get that. What do you think would be fair for that as an add-on?
usually I notice that people put up, it's depending on how long it is. They either like if you're already getting the PDF version,
Yeah,
by the way, does the digital version come with the physical copies, or do you add that on as well?
it's an add-on.
Okay, then
Mhm.
usually if it's let's go through here. We'll go to if you want to get the PDF version, I'm not sure where it's at. Um,
Yeah, it should be up top.
I think it was the first one.
Yeah.
oh, that's the bleed pack. Um, anyway, we'll go like the first one is the digital edition. So if it's
Yeah.
$5 there, usually people, if they're going to add on the extra, it's
Mhm.
going to be like $8 to $10 to switch that out for that. Or if you're going to add up to it, it would be a couple dollars to an extra $5 to change. You don't get this one anymore. You get the
Right.
big one.
Right. Well, I'll have to take a look at it. But
I'm
yeah, I can
I'm
add
not.
it as
I'm
an
not.
add-on. Because
You
if
have
you
10 days
think
left. I'm not trying to make you
yeah,
change it.
no. But if you think there's enough interest, that's the way because I've actually taught Kickstarter classes as well. And the thing that I would always tell my students is it's always like research. It's always marketing research, every single
Mhm,
campaign. And it's a matter of learning what does and doesn't work and what people want, right? Because these folks, your backers, they are becoming part of your process. They're like producers on a movie, right? And you want to give them things that if someone's interested in that level of my creative process and how the book's made, and they want to support me with an extra $5 or $10 or whatever, I'm not going to turn that down. Like that's a compliment. So I often like in updates will kind of take the temperature and ask people like what type of add-ons, what type of stretch goals. Um, and sometimes something suggested and I put it up and it doesn't go anywhere. I just don't do it again. But sometimes someone will come up with a really great idea that just does gangbusters, and I keep using it regularly. Um, I will say though, doing my first comic book campaign, it's very different. It's very different from my card campaigns, but in a way, it's starting over because I can't expect all of my Madman backers to jump onto this,
right.
or all of my trading card backers to jump onto this.
It seems like there are people that follow campaigns based on, for lack of a better term, product. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I really like the cards and I'm in it for the cards. Oh, I really like your superhero stuff.
Mhm.
And now you're giving me a Western,
Yeah.
but I trust you as a creator, but I really like the superhero stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it depends, it's been depending on who follows you. I just ran my first comic Kickstarter a few months ago,
Oh,
and it
good.
was a crazy learning curve. It was just,
Yep.
learn as you go, high flying, anything can happen kind of stuff. And, a real experience. And now you know more after each one.
Yeah. And
Each
I'll tell you what
It's
really has helped
comprehensive
me.
knowledge.
Well, yeah, but also like I have people who've been backing me since day one, and God bless them. They're there for every campaign, and they make me feel really good about myself.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, I can have a campaign for Mike Allred and our goal's $4,000. That will fund in a day
Right.
because Madman fans are Madman fans, right? I would love for Madman fans to read Joe Unknown. And so the fact of the matter is they may not check this out, and I cannot fault anyone for that. But I can also throw Joe in as an add-on for the next Madman campaign.
Yeah.
And maybe
Mm-hmm.
some of my guys, gals, and non-denominational people there will back that and be, this is pretty good. And like I'm really also like there's a lag middle of a campaign. And that is a good time to just kind of recover, recoup, polish things up, do a little housekeeping, and plan like your last week onslaught, right?
And continually hit refresh just out of
Yep.
sheer anxiety.
Exactly. Yeah, that too. And so it's also very much like a good time to just see what is and isn't working for the campaign, whether it's add-ons, messaging, you name it. And so I'm really kind of getting ready. I'm in the wind up right now and getting ready for next week to just kind of hit things pretty hard, and really push for like the $5 digital level. I've made my goal. I would love to see that get bigger, more money in the pot so that I can have like a kind of a cushion for production. Or also, if not that, I can then start putting that towards the cover artist for number 2, or to get Nick to start drawing new
And
pages.
ultimately, you want people to read your story. You want people to read your book, whether it's one way or another. And I think there's a good argument to be able to turn digital readers into floppy buyers. If they like the book and want a copy with a certain cover or something like that. It's a gateway drug, right? So you just kind of
exactly.
get in
And
the door.
and what's cool is there's I can offer these in my other campaigns, and hopefully people will be, maybe some of my trading card or Madman people will be willing and interested in checking it out for a few bucks. But it then becomes just getting them hooked on that first issue, because I guarantee you, like, things get really crazy in number 2, and number 3 is number 2, because a good horror story per EC is terrible things happening to terrible people who truly deserve it. And the first story that I wrote in number 2 is so dark and so violent, and I don't feel bad about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the person is a terrible human being. I've had to deal with someone like this in my actual life, and it was not fun. But I had to step away for a little bit, because I'm like, okay, I had to go to some dark places to write this.
Mm-hmm.
And when I get back to the scripts, tonally, it doesn't quite fit with the rest of the book, because the book's mostly like kind of at a PG-13 level. But and actually, guys, my computer is running low. I'm borrowing my partner's laptop, and there's no cord nearby, so I'm actually going to have to go pretty soon.
Okay.
Otherwise, you'll worry that the cats ate me because I didn't feed them on time.
That's it. As long as you go out with some sort of horror type, like reaching at the screen, and then it just goes dark.
There was an old man who lived in a trailer park across from where I grew up, and he was a sweetheart of a guy. Turns out he was the oldest living ex-con in Virginia, and had a long beard. He had like killed, I think, his abusive father or something. That's just what I know. But he'd walk down the street, and all of the neighborhood cats would follow him because he'd feed them all.
Oh my gosh!
And when he passed away in his trailer, he had cardboard over it. It was really sad. And like his cats started eating him. Cats will eat you, dude.
Yes,
They will, like, when Eccleston looks at me in the morning and goes, "Red Rum," I don't fuck around, because he will eat me in a heartbeat.
It's like the Looney Tunes, man. He's seeing you as like a big turkey leg, like a big, and then that's it.
All the time. All the time.
Love it.
Well, on that note, this was so
All right.
lovely, guys. Thank you so much.
Do you have anything coming up? Any shows? Any cons
Thank
at
you.
all?
I am going to Baltimore Con for one day. But I haven't really been needed for a Galaxy Con for a little while. I really hope that they need me for another show. Like the Columbus show is amazing. If anyone hasn't done that, Columbus, I love Columbus. But no, their shows are a lot of fun, and I hope to do some more of those soon. I do have the Madman Frank Fab's Fidgetar is going up after Joe Unknown wraps, and after I've gotten my other production things squared away. Boy, what else? I have the Superman dissertation is being turned into a book for Rutgers, which should be coming out in 28. I'm working on that. I think I have something else coming up. Well, Joe Unknown #2 is probably going to launch in like February or so. I'm still working on it. And I hope to have #3 launch this summer. Oh, NC Comic Con in Durham, North Carolina, run by Ultimate Comics, is amazing. Mike and Laura Allred are going to be guests. So I will be there. I'll be selling some merch, probably running their table as far as that goes, doing the panel. God, I can't say enough good things about Durham Comic Con. It is an all comics show. It's amazing. Like, it really is one of the best cons I've been to in a while. It's very old school. Find me at Snap City Swag on Instagram. Snap City Swag. And I post everything. Facebook took away my Joe Unknown page. I don't know what happened to it. It just disappeared. So
They do that. It drives me nuts. I lost 11 years of posts and things. So, yeah.
hey,
So,
man.
Insta.
Yes, Insta. Go to Snap City Swag, and that's where I post all my Instagram stuff. I'm sorry, my website is thedrawnword.com, and I always post a banner image that links to a campaign on that site. So I can just write thedrawnword.com in an Insta post, and people can find it.
Yeah, it's a really cool website too. I've visited that when we were getting to know stuff. So, yeah, everybody follow this man. Go
Thanks.
ahead, get into this campaign because this book looks like so much fun. It's all about storytelling. It's got the horror aspect going to it. It's just, I'm sorry, you're very me. What is it? Oh,
There it goes. He was right.
yep. Well, Erin, do you have anything coming up besides tomorrow night with me again?
We got tomorrow night together for another the triple header this week for the crowdfunding corner, which will be great. Check out Chris's book. I literally backed it during the show, so I'm excited to check it out. It looks like a great book. And yeah, you can find me Insta at Aaron Cohen Writes, Blue Sky at the A Cohen, and Facebook something else. There's an avatar that TJ Kirsch drew, and it looks like me.
There you go. You can find me at Carrie Sanders on Facebook. If you see a judgmental looking crow, that's my avatar. I do all the other socials, but I don't actually use them ever because I'm lazy and I don't want to learn new things. And I honestly tried Instagram like for an hour once and never figured out how to make a post appear. So I got tired of feeling stupid. And Dylan, I love you too. Have a good night. So yeah, guys, tomorrow night we have Wendy and Mr. Peeney coming on. It's going to be Wendy has a book out. It's her version of Edgar Allan Poe's The Mask of the Red Death, and it's set in like this very futuristic thing, but it also has a lot of the ElfQuest style of illustration. And we're gonna have a lot of fun with those guys. So thank you for joining us, everybody, and have a good night.
Thanks, everybody. See you, Kari.
Bye.